This video is brought to you by the Artisan Classic Slim, the handmade yet affordable fountain pen. Click the link in the description to get 10% off your order. Okay guys, welcome to a new shot of the studio. I'm still messing around to see what background works and what lighting does and doesn't work, so if you do or don't like the background, just let me know. But let's jump into the review of another Chinese fountain pen. And this pen here is something that has been overdue for a review for a while. I think I've been holding on to this pen for at least a year now, so let's go ahead and review it. This is the Delike New Moon 3, and Delike is actually a Chinese fountain pen brand that I'm not all too familiar with. From memory, I wasn't seeing this brand at the end of 2018. And it really sprung up in the beginning of 2019 with this, the Delike New Moon 3. I was seeing this all over AliExpress, and back then this pen would cost me about 16 or 17 Australian dollars, but now you can easily pick these up on AliExpress for about 12. That's the average that I've been seeing last time I looked, which was only a few days ago. And honestly, I'm very impressed with the Delike New Moon 3. Honestly, from first impressions when I first got it, I think this is very good because it sets a really high bar for construction. First of all, let's talk about the body, because I'm going to talk about construction. The pen here is a full body metal fountain pen, and I think it's made from stainless steel, and the body, which can be had in several colors, I think this one is the green. I'll get onto that in a little bit, but I think this one here is the green, and it uses a very high quality enamel finish. And enamel is just so hard, so durable. It's a really good finish. One thing I don't like about a lot of powder coated fountain pens is the fact that sometimes when you move the clip, like that, because obviously that is going to happen, it actually scratches away a lot of the powder coating and a lot of the paint. Here with enamel, doesn't happen. It is very, very solidly built. And to gloss back onto the colours of this fountain pen are white and different shades of this light blue, turquoise, cyan. From memory, there were 3 or 4 when I bought this pen, and honestly they all look so similar to this. This colour is not something that I would particularly like to have on a fountain pen. It's not something that I would choose, it's not my first preference, though honestly it is nice to have a little bit of a departure from the clear or black fountain pens. But if they could do maybe a red or a black, that would be very nice. But you know, it looks alright. I don't think this is going to win any design awards. It's not a hugely beautiful fountain pen, but it's not that bad. Now in terms of the specs, you can obviously tell that this is going to be a very short fountain pen. So capped, this fountain pen is going to be 12.4 centimeters long, uncapped it's 10.5 centimeters long, and posted it's 15 centimeters long. So this is really a very short fountain pen. The specs of it are very similar to the Pilot Prera. And one thing that I don't like about a lot of shorter fountain pens is the fact that they are crazy light. But this pen here, because it is fully metal bodied, it's very weighty. So capped it's 34 grams and uncapped it's 19 grams. So this is a very weighty pen, and when you do pick it up, it feels very odd, because when you look at it you expect it to be a lot lighter, and when you pick it up and use it, it is very heavy. It just sort of messes with your mind. Though, if that's something that you like, something that you are looking for, a heavy but short fountain pen, this is probably what you're looking for. One thing that I don't like about this pen, though, is the fact that when you try to post it, it doesn't post all that securely. You do have to really force it on the back to make it post really hard, and if it wobbles a little bit, the cap will just fall off, which is a little bit of a shame, but it's something you're going to have to get used to when you buy this sort of pen. Now, another thing that I don't like about this pen also is the metal grip. Metal grips are something that I've really come to hate with a passion in the past year, because I've always complained about me having sort of oily hands, and when I do write for long periods of time, the grip gets really slippery, especially with metal gripped fountain pens, and this one here is particularly bad. I'm not a huge fan of it, it's just something that I don't like. Now, in terms of actual usability, can you use this pen uncapped? The answer is yes, you can. It only just fits in my hand, but yeah, you can use it. It is usable, but you really do want to post it, and post it hard when you do use it. Though do be warned, when you do post it, it is going to be a pretty back-heavy fountain pen. Now, in terms of filling this pen with ink, you're not going to be able to use a full-size standard international converter. This obviously does use standard international. The one gripe that I do have with this pen, I think other people have had different experiences, but for me, I didn't get a converter with this pen for some reason. Maybe it was because I bought an early pen, or I got it from a dodgy reseller. But I've had to use cartridges with this pen, or aftermarket short converters, and not bad. You know, it's something that I was expecting with such a short pen. It just sort of goes with it. Okay, let's talk about the nib of this fountain pen. This pen uses a stainless steel, no surprises there, number 5 size nib. This one here is the 0.35mm extra fine, though you can also get this one in a fine nib, like most Chinese fountain pens. This one here, however, uses a bent style nib, and that's something that I've been seeing a lot more on Chinese fountain pens in the last year or so. Like the Pen BBS 308, if you look very closely at the end of this fountain pen, you'll notice that the tipping is bent up at like a 30-degree angle. And what that means is you can get some really nice natural line variation. It means that you don't have to press down on the nib all the time to get some nice line variation. Depending how you hold it, the side strokes will change their width, which is really cool. So when you go down, you're going to get a very nice thin line, and when you go across, you're going to get a very different line. Now the thing is, the change in line thickness is not going to be as pronounced as a Fude nib. If you have your regular tipped nib here and a Fude nib on this side, it's going to be slap bang in the middle. It's enough line variation to be obvious, but you're not going to push the envelope on getting crazy line variation, and you're not going to have to change your writing style all that much. Though for me, it's taken a little bit of time for me to get adjusted to this type of writing style, because yeah, it definitely does feel different, and it's certainly not butter smooth. You have to keep your nib perfectly 90 degrees, perpendicular with the page, unlike a regular tipped nib where there's a little bit of variation. With these pens, I think there's a lot less forgiveness in how you hold your pen. But when you do get it right, and you do write, there is some nice line variation that you can get, and it's very nice and it's very effortless. I'm not completely sold on this type of nib. I think for longer writing sessions, it's not something that I'd want to use all the time. I struggle to write with this pen for super long writing sessions, over 30 minutes. I just think having a little bit of forgiveness in the rotation of your pen is something that is nice. That's why I like regular tipped fountain pens so much. There's just a little bit of forgiveness in how you write. But for getting nice flair on your writing, this is certainly a nib that you might want to have a look at. Certainly I'll show it off in the writing sample. Now, in terms of reliability, I gotta say this pen is pretty good for reliability. It's not perfect, but it is pretty good. Compared to where Chinese fountain pens were a couple of years ago, where if you left your pen for a couple of days, came back, and they would dry start the whole time, this pen you can leave for a couple of days, come back, it'll work, with no issues at all. It doesn't hard start. I have no complaints with this. Except for the fact that it just doesn't suit my writing style. And with that, let's get into a quick writing sample to show you what this pen is capable of. Okay, let's get into a quick writing sample of the Delike. New Moon 3. This has the extra fine 0.38mm nib in stainless steel. The ink that it's using is just a generic standard international converter. I think I got this with, I don't know, a Jinhao or something. It's just generic black ink. Definitely made in China though. So, quick writing sample. And as you can see from that, ooh, yikes, that is a skip. And that skip, I can tell you, definitely was not the fault of the pen, that was the fault of me. Because as I said in the review, this pen is not very forgiving for the angle at which you use the pen. So if you use the pen like I do, I hold it at a sort of weird angle. I tend to hold it at a bit of an angle, which means you can get skips. Now, on a regular fountain pen, it's very forgiving, but on this, like as you saw here, it's not very forgiving at all. But if you hold your pen properly, or a triangular grip like you're supposed to, I think you can get some very decent results out of this pen. As I said, it just doesn't mesh well with my writing style. In terms of actual writing, though, yes, this pen is nice for writing. You get some very nice line variation. This here is certainly a different width to that there. If you hold the pen differently and try different writing, you can get some very, very different styles from here to here. The lines are just different, and I think that is very nice. In terms of actual line variation, that is usually what you're going to get, so really thin downstrokes and much thicker side strokes. In terms of actual line variation, you actually can get a little bit out of this nib, though this nib is very stiff, so there's no point in actually trying to. So, no pressure, and as much as I'd push it. Now, in terms of flow from the feed, this is an okay-ish pen. It's certainly not a gusher by any means, and in fact, I've had a few issues when I've tried to write quickly. Um, it's not the best pen if you do really quick writing. In terms of reverse writing is pretty much impossible. This is not a pen that you want to do reverse writing with. And that concludes my review for the Delike New Moon 3. I hope you enjoyed it, and to sum up, this fountain pen here is something that I think sets a pretty good benchmark for the brand Delike. Though, am I sold on this pen? No, I'm not. I think this is a very, very specific pen for someone who wants something very specific, because there's just so much on this pen that to me is very off-putting. I could deal with a few things that are off-putting, such as the slippery grip or the ergonomics that are just not 100% there, but put it all together, plus the fact that you can't use full-size converters, and it didn't come with one, I just think that this is not the pen for me. Plus the nib doesn't suit my writing style for long periods of time. It's just not a pen that I could see me using every single day as an everyday writer. Now, if you do want a short fountain pen, and you do want some fountain pen that is very heavy, and you're okay with it not posting 100% the whole time, or you're okay with holding a very short fountain pen, I think this is something that you could easily take a look at. And for only $12 on AliExpress or eBay, I think it's okay to take a risk on that compared to taking a risk on a more expensive fountain pen. And I guess with that, thank you very much for watching.